You know, if you've been in real estate last few years, one thing that's true is there's so many lenders struggling, but for my money, so few that really work hard. There's an old saying that a hungry dog hunts best. And so when I saw a guy who really is putting in the effort on the marketing side, reaching out, educating his customers, educating the marketplace, kind of like I do, I reached out to introduce myself to him and his team. And today we have Alejandro Szita, who is a lender here in Southern California, has a great magazine that kind of explains what he does. But I had the chance to meet him. I saw the magazine when I went shopping one day and picked up and gave him a call. And here he is. So, Alejandro, thank you so much for making time today.
Bill, thank you so much for having me on your show.
So you service what area? Southern California, all California?
Southern California primarily, and Florida. When I say Florida, I'm talking about Clearwater, Fort Lauderdale, and the Miami area.
Nice. I used to live in Boca Raton. So Florida's like my ex-girlfriend. I can't talk about it in front of my wife, but I find memories. I like to go back there. So, and why is it just because you're licensed in those two states? Is that the main reason, or do you have business in both, or what was it that motivated you to do those two?
The main reason is dual. Number one, I go to Florida very often and I like it. I always liked it. You know, since the first time I landed in Florida many years ago, I fell in love with that state. And second, coincidentally, a lot of our clients, especially investor clients, they have business in Florida. So we decided, you know, about a year ago that why not, you know, we give a lot of business to lenders in Florida. Why not go to the extra steps and get the license from Florida?
Right. And I think you told me you're originally from Venezuela?
From Chile.
Chile. And I think Miami is like the capital of South America.
Yes, everyone in South America knows about Miami, goes to Miami, and anyone that has any investment or wants to invest abroad, they invest in Miami and in South Florida. That is correct. But also in Southern California, believe it or not.
Yeah, also Los Angeles. So, you know, obviously the lending industry is going through some changes.
Yes.
And one of the things that I struggle with is trying to remember what individual lenders do. I know when I was in lending, my first 15 years, I was a mortgage lender. I did a certain type of loan. I primarily did Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac conventional loans. I didn't really do FHA or VA because I didn't have a great processor. I didn't really do high balance loans because it wasn't my world. But I knew the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac guidebook, up, down, backwards, forwards, and did that. What would you say is your focus or specialty, or where do you think you have a competitive advantage in lending versus the other lenders in the business?
We cater to the self-employed professional, the creative entrepreneur, and the small business owner. In that specific niche, I believe we're one of the best. And it's not so much because we have a secret formula or we have a secret rate. We don't sell the rate, you know, but we happen to, in that niche, which is usually the niche of the jumbo loan, is the niche of everything that is sort of the opposite of what you mentioned. You know, we do conventional loans. It's not that we don't do them. We do Freddie Mac loans. Freddie Mac has a really good program for self-employed people where you only need to show 1 year tax return. But that's not our focus. Our focus is the creative professional, the business owner, the entrepreneur. You would think that being a business owner or being a mediumly successful, let's not even talk about super successful, but just being a mediumly successful business owner and entrepreneur, you would think that it would be easy. That any bank, you know, some of my clients have 10, 20-year relationship with their bank, and you would think it would be easy to just go to your local bank that knows you, that sees your volume of business, and ask for a loan. But unfortunately, nothing can be further from the truth. So the reason we have survived is because these loans that we do require a lot of effort, a lot of attention, a lot of follow-up, much more than what I call the regular loans. As a matter of fact, we specialize on this niche so much that when I got the regular, what I call the W-2 regular loan, I had to go back to my broker. I am affiliated with another broker that only does that. And I had to ask him, hey, how do you do these loans?
They're different, but I think what you're talking about is a lot is the relationship with their bank or their accountant or their financial person, their company. I used to deal a lot with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans, but my business was mostly through commercial banks. I had to really learn there's a different rhythm to business owners than there are to salaried W-2 employees.
Yes, you're completely correct.
Yeah. So one of the challenges I see for you, I mean, I don't know if you want to say it out loud or not, is that the market's gotten more competitive, which I don't think it's not news to anybody. The rates, which had been going down almost nonstop for years, have turned in and been, at least for the year, have gone up significantly. Doesn't mean they're going to continue, but they've gone up quite a bit. And I see all the time lenders promising rates and such that I know that they can't deliver.
Yep.
How do you deal with that? Like, the customer calls you and says, Alejandro, your rate sounds great, but you're quoting me today 7.5, and this guy's quoting me 6.5. He says he has some 6.5 money left. He doesn't. How do you combat that?
I don't combat that. I tell my customers right away, we are not the cheapest. We don't strive to get you the cheapest rate because we can't. But it so happens by survey that we're one of the cheapest, but that's not what we sell. That's not what we promise. And I'm going to answer your question with with this. Most lenders are, I don't know why, this is what I have observed, but most lenders are afraid to disclose to their customers how much they make. Now, we are licensed by the Department of Real Estate, and as you know, being a Department of Real Estate licensee in Southern California or in California, we have to disclose in bold letters. We have to provide a special form that says how much we make. So I tell them right away how much we make. Now, what my competitors do is they build in their compensation through a rate increase. They call this the quote unquote, the deceptively no points loan. So when they call the other broker and the other broker says 7.5 or 8, they have built in their compensation into the rate. When they call me, I tell them right away, you have two options. I can quote you a rate with our compensation built in, or I can quote you a rate without our compensation built in. In both cases, we make the same. But for you, it matters because if you're buying this property and you want to hold it for the long term, you might want to pay us directly. If this is going to be a short fix and flip, or you envision having the property for a couple of years, then it might be better that I quote you a quote unquote no points rate. But in all my years of lending and in all the hundreds of loans we've done, I think only one customer chose, after I explained and disclosed exactly how this works and exactly how we make our compensation, only one customer chose lender paid compensation, and it was only because she was a little bit short of funds to close.
Sure. I think when I used to be in lending, when I got into real estate, I was concerned about having to disclose my commission. And to be honest, to this day, I find the most liberating thing. In fact, when I do a listing, I list not just my commission, but the other side commission and all the expenses to give my customer a net sheet. Because if I'm willing to be honest about it, we can have an honest discussion. It's hard to have an honest discussion if you don't lay it out like that. So I like the way that you laid that out as well.
Yeah.
Now, your business, is it you? Do you have a team, processors? Do you have loan officers underneath you? How do you run your business?
I have a team of about 6 processors that they do all of the heavy lifting. I am the only loan officer because I've tried to look for another loan officer, and it's really, really hard. Most of our public is bilingual. They speak Spanish and English. Most of our loans require a lot of creative imagination. I'm not saying that other people don't have this, because I've met many other loan officers in my career that are, in my opinion, they're even better than me. But it's hard you see, when we do a loan, it's not just about the loan. It's about the business person's plan. Usually people have a business plan. They also have a personal plan. They also have some retirement goals. So when you design the loan, it's not just like, hey, I want to buy a house, give me the cheapest rate, here's the loan. No, the loan becomes part of the financial plan, and it has to fit in exactly. And the loans that we do have a lot of moving parts. Some of them are interest only, some of them are 40 years, some of them have a balloon payment, some don't. So we cater, massage the loans variables to fit exactly what the person wants. It's sort of a financial planner. It's sort of a financial planning approach to making loans.
That's what I saw in your magazine. You really do take yourself as a financial planning professional rather than just as a banker employee. And I always tell people the last person you want to talk to is the guy sitting in your bank branch. He can't develop business. So he's the guy they bring deals to. They can't get any business. You want somebody who's gone out and built his own clientele, whose reputation is on the line every day. Yeah. And so I really appreciate what you do. So Alejandro, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you and talk about getting ready to buy a property, or maybe they need to refinance for some reason to change things around, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
The best way is to send me an email at info@prosperitylending.us. That's info, prosperitylending.us. Or just go to the website. The website is prosperitylending.us. And then you have a wealth of information.
Fantastic. We'll put that in the detail description down below. And Alejandro, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate your material. I appreciate your approach, and I really appreciate meeting with you and your team. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Bill.